Hello and welcome to this week's look at action stunts on film and television. I hope you are well. We are in 1971 this year, looking at the movie When 8 Bells Toll. Alistair MacLean movie, based on his book, of course. His leading man, Anthony Hopkins, and the character Philip Calvert was to be an equivalent to James Bond, and an excitable character he is too. The movie didn't do as well at the box office, sadly, and consequently the 3-picture deal that Anthony Hopkins had signed never came true. So we are left with one picture. It's got a couple of lovely moments in it. If you have been listening to the podcast on Wednesdays, you will note that we were speaking to Andrina Duffin, who was doing some of the doubling for Nathalie Delon, the leading lady in the picture. And here is a little recap of all the other action in the picture, and a few doubles spotted where we can. Here we go. So, a classic, When 8 Bells Toll. If you've never seen this, you really should. Wonderful opening sequence on a ship. Our hero, Anthony Hopkins, is exploring the ship. This guy is going to drop down on top of him. Boom, down he comes. And he is doubled by George Leach. Now you'll spot, this is the pickup shots. Anthony Hopkins with the double. Two actors together. He's shouting for help. And you can see that his skull cap is a bit wrinkled. You've got to pull it down over the top of his head. And then this remarkable moment where that's George Leach in close-up. It's not the actor at all. Very fascinating. Bob Simmons then takes over for some of the doubling for Anthony Hopkins. Dropping down here, set a flare off. That's Bob running away. That's Bob's running style. And then jumping into the water is Peter Brace. Always knew how to make a big splash. The graveyard fight, always something that is I'm reminded of when I think about this picture, because it's the first time that I saw a young Martin Grace. There he is, with his blonde hair and his leather jacket. And who else? Well, George Leach. And the two of them are going to have a bit of a set to with Tony H here. Now that's the three of them, George, Anthony and Martin, right? So these, the actors doing it here. Now, there will come a moment here where Bob Simmons now takes over. So the fight's filmed on a couple of occasions, and he's kept in close-up as he walks away. Martin tackles him from behind. Oh, bosh. But the amount of stuff that happens in the picture, and this was something that he kind of pioneered, really, getting those shots done whereby you have the actors doing it, and then you have the pickup shots with the actor and the stuntmen, or the stunt double and the other guys. So, nice little flipping work here. He's going to have another set 2 with George. Have that. Oh, bosh. Boom. Dives on him, then the edit, and then there goes Bob. So Bob goes down all the way down the hill until he gets to the one item in the graveyard that isn't real. That tombstone is a prop. Well, I hope you learn something. Yeah, I think is what he says there. So round 1 to them. And then he walks straight into camera, creating darkness there. And there's the cut. The helicopter crash. There's a whole bunch of bits and pieces going on here. So the helicopter lands. If you remember from Bob Simmons' autobiography, Billy Morgan and Bill Hibbert, the two guys at this side. Hopkins jumping out. Oh, jumping back up. That's still Hopkins. He's only not really supposed to go up that far. And then Simmons takes over for the high stuff. Now, you'll remember in his autobiography, Bob Simmons said that he leapt from the helicopter from about 250 feet. And with the greatest respect to Bob Simmons, it's utter nonsense. He would not have jumped 250 feet from anything into water. It would have been like hitting concrete. You cannot... a reverse shot there, very odd. You could not control your fall and body positioning enough for you to hit straight with your feet first in the water. It's not, particularly not knowing how deep that is. So I appreciate that there was a little artistic license going on. This is Bob underwater. The underwater sequences of the movie are filmed by a man we featured not too long ago, Paul Stader, who of course did the Poseidon Adventure. The boat sailing off into the distance. Now, and then there is the boat attack. Now, this is quite interesting. That's actually Andrina Duffin's uncle's boat on there. First over is Ray Ford, climbing over the top. Next up, Morris Bush. In the first register, Ray Ford was in there for a little while. Morris, I think, was only in there for one. And Robert Morley waiting patiently. Hopkins leans over the side. Have a quick look. They decide to split up. One goes one way, one goes the other. And it's... and of course this is quite tricky for Ray, because he's got to be absolutely certain that Morley's not going to put his full body weight behind this. Otherwise he will choke him for real. Grabs hold of Morris, chucks him to the ground, and then gives him the old heave-ho, and that's good night Vienna. Tie a chain round his legs and chuck him overboard. When in doubt, marks for neatness, over the shoulder, and flip. Hey, there he goes. Running down the boat, this is a very complicated sequence. The boat turns up here. Right, so light jackets, blue hat, right? Bear that in mind. Where are they? Black coats and wetsuits here. And then a different cut, evidently, with black suits and light jackets. Oh, it's very good. So they must have done a number of takes on that one, I'm assuming. And then he runs to the back of the boat. This guy gets shot. Bang! Here we go. Little blood squibs going off. Third man's clearly missing. Only fires 2 shots. Then the third wanted to blow the boat up. Underwater. Now, there are credits on this picture. Not on the end titles. On IMDb, it makes it clear that there are half a dozen stunt performers, but nobody has mentioned this guy. And this is a cracking piece of work, to be fair. Absolutely lifeless. It's Peter Diamond. I mean, I don't see why that's not been mentioned before. But nevertheless. Now, that's Reg Harding. He had some diving experience. So they've obviously used this equipment, whether it be in the tank. I imagine it would be. And everything, a lot of people always refer to movies underwater. Well, it's a bit slow, isn't it? The action's a bit slow. What they're trying to do is speed everything up with the edit. You've got the torch this side, cutting away from and to the face masks. And then that's going to cut through the line, and water ultimately will go inside that diver's helmet. There it is, burning away. And the water comes in, and it's good night to you. But well lit. And again, Paul Stader doing all of this. Nice little job. And out through the porthole. There we go. Out through the end. The cliff climb. Again, not something that Hopkins needs to be doing. So for some of this sequence, he is actually climbing on the ground. Relatively close to the waterfall. But they've moved the picture around. So there, it looks like he's climbing up. When in point of fact, it's a shot elsewhere. But as soon as he leaves the ground, it's not him. And that's all it's hanging on to. Oh, and the adjustment. Now, for the rest of the climb, the high part, it's Billy Morgan who's doing that. Trying to keep his head out of shot, trying to keep his eye line out the way. That's him again. And manages to make his way to the top just in time to have a moment and catch his breath before the assault on the castle. It's quite a lengthy sequence. I've had to cut it down a little bit here. But the first guy that we're going to find here is none other than Dougie Robinson. Stuntman who's been in many, many pictures. Very, very familiar face. And is about to get well and truly crossbowed by Sir Anthony. Click. Turns. Bang. Got him. On a fish wire, so he's never going to miss. Comes in and would you Adam and Eve it? Bob's only had a liquid lunch, look. That wouldn't be like him. God love him. So he decides to pour it over his head. Nice bit of acting by Bob here. What do you do when somebody pours liquid over your head? You go, who? What? Who? Oh. Not much acting required, I suspect. So, he's going to, right, take me to her. Lead on. Bob was always getting himself into action and into the script in some shape or form. Turn, bosh. There we go, that's job done there. And now the climactic sequence, which is the cave ambush, and a lot of stunt guys brought in. There's George Leach doing his bag mark swag routine. A lot of stunt guys walking about around here. People hiding all over the place, like George Cooper. Look, unmistakable. You wouldn't miss those lamb chops anywhere. They're all waiting. They're waiting for this boat to turn up. They're all getting out of the way and hiding. The boat now approaches the cave. Comes in, crashing through the doors. In it comes. And then all hell breaks loose. Couple of gunmen, Mark McBride and Terry Maidment on the front of the boat. Up in the turret, Vic Armstrong and Reg Harding. And Terry Mountain makes an appearance as well. And then the shooting starts. Reg Harding again getting thrown into the drink. Whee, and he goes. Now the gunfight here. That's Nathalie Delon lying down out of the way. Now, here on the stairs, here's an interesting one. So, Richard Graydon up the top doing the high part of the fall for this guy. And then on the stairs, that's Terry Maidment again. So he's got himself another little roll there, a little fall down the stairs. There's Terry Mountain, about to be unalived, I think is the phrase that's often used. Oh, George is gone as well. New sweater. Oh, no. Yeah, there's the Mountain gone as well. And then he does the old billiard shot routine, tying a rope round the grenade and swinging it right round the far side. Kabang. Nice. Nice. Final disposal of this mob. Another grenade. Look. Bang. There we go. And then on the rooftop, Vic and Reg, they get theirs. This is the final shot, which is the guy getting away, but it's Ken Buckle who's on the rope and into the drink. Marvellous. There we go. That is When 8 Bells Toll. A couple of interesting moments in there. There's issues with continuity, quite clearly. You're approaching the little boat with the 3 guys in it, and the 3 guys obviously have to bail as the boat comes careering through, but they're wearing different uniforms. They're wearing different outfits. Maybe they thought that the speed of the boat approaching would take the viewer's eye away from the fact they're wearing different clothing. I don't know. It's very confusing. There's also a reverse shot in there. The helicopter takes off and goes away, and there's machine gun fire, and you can see the machine gun fire, and then that same shot appears to be played backwards in another frame as the machine gun fire appears to be going back into the guns. There's a couple of odd moments. And Peter Diamond. I mean, nobody else looks like Peter Diamond. It's Peter Diamond, So it's very clearly him. And they're using George Leach in close-up as the actor he's doubling. I mean, it's not so bad with Bob Simmons because it's fairly blatant and you kind of accept it. But George is wearing the bald cap. He's in the costume. He's made up. And it's very clearly him. I don't understand why they would have left it in the picture. Just an odd... Maybe the actor didn't die properly or didn't... I don't know, something. We'll use George. George's take was better. So there we go. If you've enjoyed that, then why not subscribe to this and to the podcast, which is Wednesday of every week, and the YouTube show is every Friday. Keep up with us on the social medias. Lots more exciting stuff to come. And until next time, it's bye for now.